Imagine you're standing at a crossroads in space. To your left, the red deserts of Mars. To your right, the hellish clouds of Venus. You have no spaceship, no way home. You must choose one planet to land on. Which one gives you even a few precious seconds more of life? The answer might surprise you, because the planet that seems deadlier might actually be your better bet. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing something different. We're putting two of our closest planetary neighbors in a head-to-head survival challenge. Mars, the red planet that's captured our imagination for centuries, and Venus, Earth's so-called twin that turned into a nightmare world. Now, neither of these planets will let you survive long without protection. But this isn't about thriving. It's about those critical first moments of survival. How long could an unprotected human actually last on each world? We're going to break down the science, run the numbers, and discover which hostile world gives you the longest shot at survival. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at these planets the same way again. Let's start with Mars, humanity's favorite backup planet. From Earth, it looks almost welcoming. That rusty red surface, those ice caps at the poles. We've sent rovers there, we dream of colonies. But step out onto its surface without a spacesuit, and you're in for a brutal awakening. Mars is cold. We're talking an average of minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but it can drop to minus 200 at the poles. The moment you step onto the surface, you'd feel that cold. But here's the thing, you wouldn't freeze instantly. Why? Because Mars has almost no atmosphere. There's barely any air to conduct heat away from your body. It's like being in a freezer with no air circulation. You'd lose heat, but slowly. But temperature isn't your biggest problem. It's pressure, or the complete lack of it. Mars' atmospheric pressure is less than 1% of Earth's. To put that in perspective, it's like being 100,000 feet above Earth, way higher than any plane flies. The moment you're exposed, the low pressure would cause the water in your soft tissues to vaporize. Your eyes, your tongue, your lungs, they'd start to swell. This is called ebulism. It's not explosive decompression like in the movies, but it's absolutely excruciating. But here's what's fascinating. You wouldn't die instantly. NASA estimates you'd have about 90 seconds of consciousness. If you didn't try to hold your breath, if you exhaled and let the air escape your lungs, you might stay conscious for almost 2 minutes. Your blood wouldn't boil because it's contained in your circulatory system, which maintains pressure. You'd be in agony, yes, your body would swell, your mouth and nose would freeze in the sub-zero temperatures, but for about 1.5 minutes, you'd be aware, you'd be alive. If someone dragged you back into a pressurized habitat within that window, you might actually survive with medical treatment. Now, let's talk about Venus. If Mars is a cold desert, Venus is literally hell. And I mean that almost scientifically. Before you even land on Venus, you're in trouble. The planet is shrouded in clouds of sulfuric acid, not water vapor like Earth's clouds, but concentrated acid that would burn through most materials. You'd be descending through an atmosphere that's actively trying to dissolve you. When you finally reach the surface, the atmospheric pressure is 92 times that of Earth. That's equivalent to being 3,000 feet underwater in Earth's oceans. The air itself would crush you. Your rib cage would compress. Your lungs would collapse. There's no gasping for breath here because the atmosphere is pressing in with the force of a small car on every square inch of your body. And the temperature? 900 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to melt lead, hot enough to make aluminum flow like water. Your body is mostly water and organic compounds that break down far below this temperature. Those sulfuric acid clouds I mentioned, they create acid rain, but it's so hot on Venus that the rain evaporates before it even hits the ground. You're standing in an atmosphere of vaporized acid droplets, superheated air, and crushing pressure. On Venus, you wouldn't last 90 seconds. You wouldn't last 10 seconds. The combination of heat, pressure, and toxic atmosphere would kill you almost instantly. Your body would be crushed, cooked, and chemically burned simultaneously. We're talking maybe 2 to 3 seconds of consciousness if you're lucky. Though lucky is a strange word to use. The heat alone would cause immediate thermal burns over your entire body. Your lungs would collapse from the pressure before you could even attempt a breath. The high concentration of carbon dioxide would be the least of your problems. Soviet Venera landers, built from titanium and designed to withstand extreme conditions, only survived on the surface for a maximum of about 2 hours before being destroyed. An unprotected human? You'd be gone in the time it takes to snap your fingers. So let's tally this up. On Mars, you've got roughly 90 seconds. On Venus, you've got less than 5 seconds. Mars is the clear winner in our survival challenge. But let's be real about what winning means here. Both planets are absolutely lethal to human life. Mars just kills you slower. Why Mars is more survivable? Mars gives you that crucial window because it's essentially a vacuum. The cold works slowly. The lack of pressure causes swelling, but not instant death. And there's no toxic atmosphere to burn your lungs. You'd be in horrific pain, but you'd be conscious, and theoretically, you could be rescued. Venus offers no such mercy. It's not just one way to die, it's every way at once. Crushed, roasted, and dissolved. There's no rescue possible because you'd be unrecognizable within seconds. Here's the cosmic irony. Venus is actually closer in size to Earth than Mars is. It's often called our sister planet. But Mars, smaller and further from the Sun, is the one where we're actually planning human missions. That tells you everything you need to know about how misleading appearances can be. This survival comparison isn't just a morbid thought experiment. It actually tells us a lot about why we're so focused on Mars for future exploration and colonization. Mars is hostile, yes, but it's manageable hostile. We can build habitats that handle the pressure difference. We can generate heat. We can potentially extract water from the ice. The challenges are enormous, but they're engineering challenges, not fundamental impossibilities. Venus would require technology that sounds like science fiction. We'd need floating cities high in the atmosphere, where conditions are actually more Earth-like. About 30 miles up, Venus has regions where the temperature and pressure are comparable to Earth. But building and maintaining floating colonies, that's a level of engineering complexity we're nowhere near ready for. This comparison teaches us something profound. In space, small differences matter enormously. Mars and Venus are both rocky planets, both relatively close to Earth. But those differences in atmospheric pressure, temperature, and composition make one a potential future home, and the other completely off-limits for the foreseeable future. So, Mars versus Venus. Which planet could you survive longer on? Mars wins, hands down, with 90 seconds of consciousness versus Venus's less than 5 seconds. But in the grand scheme of things, both planets remind us just how rare and precious our Earth really is. Think about it. We live on the one planet in our solar system where you can just walk outside, breathe the air, feel the sun without being cooked alive. That's not something to take for granted. If you enjoyed this deep dive into planetary survival, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more space content. Should I do more planet comparisons? What about Jupiter versus Saturn? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, in space, there are no good options, only less terrible ones. Mars might give you 90 seconds, but Earth gives you a lifetime. Let's take care of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.